what day is this, Minnie?
Friday!
Big D, what time is it?
Noona.
What does that mean, unit?
Festool Live.
Festool Live, baby. The unit was making fun of me. Like I said, I repeat things. Whatever. Okay, hey, welcome to Festool Live. This is episode 149. Guess what next week is?
150.
150, baby. All right, okay, let's introduce the room. I think you know these folks. Right over here is Big D.
Hey, everybody.
Behind the camera, we have Chris, the unit Cybert. Online, we have Brent Shively from the Build series on YouTube. Woo, baby! And on the board, we have Minnie, known as Min Min. Cool. Tell us where you're from so she can put it up there. Minnie's from Florida. Kissimmee, right?
Yes.
And she's a native, or was a native. She's still it was, okay. Like I'm a M-E-M-I-E. My dad and mom would always call me. You know what that is? Mena in exile. All right, hey, baby. All right, okay. So we got a great episode today. And it's on the brand new tool alert. It's coming out September 6th here in North America. And I already went over the TS60, but this is the new TSV60. And you've been seeing it all over the internet. I am going to do a setup of things today, like the scoring blade and all of the good stuff, a lot of technical stuff. I'm going to take my time as best possible. I also want to mention that I'm not covering in depth of all the specifications because I went over all of them on episode 131 of the TS60. Okay, boy, do I have a lot planned for today. Hopefully I get through it. Now, hear me out. I said this with the CSC50. I went over an overview, and then the next time I went through calibration. Well, this one's gonna be a long one today. And next week, I am going to go into, and I'll allude to it as I go, there's going to be episode number 150 is going to be on the TSV60, and I'm going to show you some different techniques with that. So this is going to be a 2-week, because these machines have been phenomenal, the CSC50 and the TSV60. Okay, so, hopefully I don't mix up the V's in the whatevers. Okay, so what's the same on the saws? Okay, we have a TSV60 here, okay, and the TS60 here. Now I'm going to be doing a lot of ripping with the 60 and then the V. But what's the same? Just about everything. Same depth of cut. You have 62 millimeters when it's on the rail. You have what I think is fantastic. You have a 1.8 millimeter cutting blade kerf. It's 168 millimeter. I'll go over that in a few minutes. But you combine that with the brushless motor and the power. Oh, wait a minute. It's 6,800 RPM. It's faster. People are freaking out on the 60 and now the TSV60. And the reason they're saying, well, it's the same on 3/4, but then take it like my buddy Garrett did. I know he's listening. He said, you know, I was doing great with my 55, but man, when I took that 60 home and was ripping thick material like countertop, he goes, it's night and day. So that's why we have that more power in there. Okay, so over here, Chris. Okay, so another thing that's same between the saws and another saw is the 168 millimeter blade. Okay, and I want to define this a little, okay? It works with the V, the regular 60, but also the Sustainer saw. So that is a great series of blades. And we have them for what? Wood, laminate, and we have them for aluminum, and we also have them for, I always say hardy board, but it's cap composite material, cementitious material. Okay. So those blades are interchangeable. That's what's the same. I'm just going to go over my notes really quick. Chris, don't let anybody see. Oh, duh, it's a safe saw, right? It has anti-kickback built in. And I went through all of that, and it's the same on the TSV60 than the TS60. Big D, we should have had a counter how many times I say those numbers. I think we're up to 5 or 6 now. Whew, okay, woo, all right. What's different? and I want to show you in a minute. I'm just going to check something here. Yeah, we're good. Oh, duh. That's my tip later today. I'll go over on this saw, the TSV. It's the base, right? Over here is the regular groove to fit on the FS rails, and it's on the TS60. I covered this, but I just want to make sure it's the same on this one. The base is a little bit longer, and you'll realize that in a moment, and you also have this T groove right here, and where that works, and I'm going to make a suggestion. If you have an FSK rail that works with your HK55, okay, it'll work on here. Get the longer one because look at the difference here. It's a much longer saw. And there's a reason, and I'll show you that momentarily. So once again, this is a saw that weighs, sorry about that everybody, weighs a little bit more, but you can use it on the job site, wherever, with our carpentry saws, and you need that little extra depth of cut. It's fantastic. You saw me with a TS60. I was cutting TJIs with it. Works wonderful. Now, there's something else on both saws, and I forgot to talk about this when I went over the TS60, that I just love, okay? Chris, hopefully we can get this. I'm gonna do it with the TS60 first. If we can come behind here, Chris, and I'm gonna pull it out here, on the sole or the base of the saw, I didn't go into this recess here. See it right here? When you are making sure it is adjusted to the rail, check it out. You can get your fingers in here. It's recessed. And I'll tell you what, that's Festool engineering, listening to the customers, because that for me, I have 10 thumbs, and that was tough to get in there on the regular track saws, so I'd always tilt the saw to access that back cam. So it's a lot easier. Good. And that's on both saws. Whew. Okay. Next, what's different? I mentioned there's a weight difference. I got it right here. The TS60 is 10.5 pounds or 10.5 pounds. The TSV60 is 13.2 pounds. Big deal? Well, not really. But yes, because it's important because it has an extra motor. That's the big difference. And when there's an extra motor, that means there's another blade. And I'm going to go that. I'm going to change the scoring blade for you later. But I want to mention it's right here. And I'm going to go through all these green buttons here today. And we're going to use this one and this one a lot next week, because I'm going to show you how to plunge cut absolutely splinter-free or chip-free in melamine. And when I say that, this is what I needed to do this week. I wanted to make sure you saw this, because this saw, the TS60, we're going to rip right now. We're going to make a cut. And you have to see this, because when we were making cuts and training on this, I was like, you know what? That's kind of flawless, the cut with the TS60, right? Why, and I'm going to tell you right now, why would I need a TSV? And I think that's what the big thing is that people need to know. So I'm going to clamp it. I'm clamping this melamine. Chris, if you come in here, look how thin that is. I swear to God, that melamine coat gets thinner every year. I think it was spray painted on. Right now, it's hardwired, so once again, I'm going to make sure, I think I tightened this one right. I'm going to go through 3 rails. And when I go through 3 rails, this is the one for my TS60. Okay, and then I'm going to have a setup rail, and then I'm going to have my final rail, because I need to explain that. All right, so let's plug her in, and let's get going. How are we doing on time, Big D? Good?
Good.
Okay, good. Chris, what day is it?
It's Friday.
Okay. I got the depth set, and you remember, on the same on both of them. I got the dual cursor, and I also got the dual scale. So if I set this FS, that's incorporated in the 5mm rail. So I'm going to set it at 25. Just take it like this, and I'm going to make a cut. Remember, when you're cutting with a track saw, all track saws, make sure you go like this first, so you're not going into the material when it's running. Okay, and I'm just going to... Remember, stand behind it like this. Bring it up full speed. Okay, so I'm gonna make a cut with a 60. I'm gonna take that out of here. Wrap it up real quick. Pull that out so we can look at the cut and get it out of the way. Because I need to go through some cool calibrations with the TSV 60. Okay, now, Chris, I want you to come in here. Okay, and that's, for me, looking at it, and even Inspector Clouseau, and looking at it, it looks pretty good. Until you take a piece of edge banding that you're gonna take it, and hopefully Chris can see this, but you see how it starts to pop in there? Ever so slightly, look at that. You see the chip out? Big D, can you see that? The little chip out in there? This needs to be perfect, right? Look, Chris, come down here. Here it is. Look, I get ever so slight chip out in there, okay? But that may be good for some people. But well, some people will say good enough. When it can't be just good enough, it has to be perfect. That's when you break out the TSV 60. Okay, wait till you see what happens and that pops. Let's take the TSC. Oh my God, let me get this out of here. Okay, so that's done. Okay, Chris.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna go over the saw, but I want everybody to understand this, okay? The blade you should use with the scoring blade, I have them next to each other. The blade that comes with it, and the one for what? HPL. Do you know what HPL is? High performance laminate. It's the countertop material, you know, for the vanities or whatever in kitchens, you know. I call it by brand names, Wilson Art, Formica, you know, all those brand names, okay? You know how hard that is, and I'm leading up to something in a few minutes, okay? So when you need perfection, let's grab this. I'm gonna show you how to get perfection. Oh, let's do it with this. Because I have my TSV already set up, and I want to show you that. Let's bring it in. Next week, you will see how precise this saw can be. Every time I cut with this, and I was telling Brent this morning, I am totally 100% taking myself back to 2003 when I cut with my first track saw. I could not believe how clean a cut was. This is absolute perfection. It really is. And there's a reason for it. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to stop the saw and show you. Okay? In the front here, we have a secondary blade. I'm going to put my splinter guard down. And I'm just going to, I have it all set, but you see that coming out? And I'm just going to go like this. And you'll see there's one tooth and it's diamond. That's rotating this way, and this blade, the cutting blade, is rotating that way. So what we're gonna do is I'll show you what happens with this. I always take my saw down because I don't want to start my scoring blade in there. Oh, you know what's really neat? Chris, I have to plug it in. Okay, good. All right, here we go. He's supposed to pay attention. Now, I'm gonna come over here really quick. Make sure my cams are all set on this. And then, everybody, I wanna show you the cut first, and then come back and show you all the little nuances to setting that scoring blade. Okay, here we go. Just, you gotta be patient with me here. Okay, so you see what's happening is I'm scoring, and look at the splinter guard. And you're gonna see this in the end. See how that splinter guard is right on there? I am scoring it, and then I'm cutting it. That real thin material. Now I'm cutting melamine, it's no big deal, but if I put that red blade in there, and I'm cutting, it's a triple chip grind, and I'm cutting countertops. That's the beauty of that 62 millimeter. You're gonna see what you're gonna get, especially if I'm putting another piece of, oh my goodness. This gives me chills. I was in here all day yesterday, most of Wednesday, cutting with this, and I cannot believe, Look at that cut, everybody. It's absolutely flawless, okay? And that's when you can really tell. If I have time, I'll cut another really thin top coat of something, and you can see how flawless that cut is. All right, so let's set this one over here, and let's do some setup, and I can go over some stats with you on this. Okay, so here's my setup rail, and you're gonna notice when I use the setup rail. So what'll happen is you'll take your regular rail with the TSV, and you'll set it up, and then you're gonna replace the spindle guard. Okay, if you have a rail already. And it's important to know this, because when you set it up, somebody will say, well, you really don't need the splinter guard perfect to the rail. And you're gonna see as I cut, it's gonna be offset a little. And what happens is, as you adjust it, what if I want to line that up? And you'll see next week, when I line it up to do plunge cutting, how perfect you can get with this. I keep saying flawless, but it is. All right, so I'm going to take this in like this, and always, and I'm going to step through all of this. I have it written down. Clamp your rail. And when you set this up, take it in like this. This is how I was taught in my training a year ago. Okay, good. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to take this and, number 2, adjust the cams. Big D, we flowing good with this? So there's no lateral tolerance. Now, whenever I tell people to set this up, I used to see people go like this, and listen. Oh, there's movement. No, you have to grab the sole. So up here, you have your regular EC motor here. Right here, you have another motor. Okay, I'll show you all of these green buttons in a minute. Okay, now, the next thing I'm gonna do is this button right here, or this lever. I'm going to do what? What that does is, if we come over here, Chris, see that? That's the blade, that's the scoring blade. That's a diamond tip, that's a diamond coated tip. Okay, I will go over the longevity of that in a moment. And this one's not even gonna cut. See how I bring it over? It won't cut. So to set it up precisely, that tip is conical, like this. And you wanna set it up, and Brent, Garrett, and I have a little technique of doing this, and I'm gonna step in here to show you. This is the knob for depth, see it? You have a plus and minus, okay? Good. That's important. Now, see how I marked it right there? And these are clicks. In the manuals, they call them catches, but you see the clicks right here? Minnie, could you do me a big favor? Leave most of that and do it on.
Absolutely, I'm going on the back.
Whew, because I can't remember all these numbers these days. Okay, so, Minnie, you're the best. So when I do this, each click, that's why I have it over here. Each click is 0.1 millimeter. So that is really fine, isn't it? It's 1/256th in imperial. So if you do this, a full revolution is 1.3 millimeters. You don't have to cut deep with this, because you're just scoring that ever so slightly. Okay? So as blades wear, you can adjust it for the curve. You only got to set it up once. It's not difficult. I can do it. Okay, so let me get a chair here. I mean a stool, so we can get in depth with this. And I'm going to take it, and you know what I'm going to do, Chris? I'm going to unplug it. Okay, because what I want to do is I want to zero it out, and I'm going to go back and forth. Now, I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to take it. Okay, when I say zero it out, see how it's hitting? When I have it down, I'm going to take this, and I know I'm going to take it a few clicks like this, because I know how many clicks I got to do when it's perfectly zero. You see it right here? Okay, good. Now come back over here, my main man, and you're going to see how I'm rotating it. Okay, I know that's zeroed out, and here's how I can tell. Watch. Mr. Post-it note. I'm just going to take a Post-it note so you can see. Don't use the sticky side, everybody. But I'm going to take that, and see right there? See how that's complete? Is that a good, can you get that shot, Chris? See how I can do that? That's zeroed out, and it's not cutting. Follow? Okay, so what we've decided or figured out is 0.1 is each click. So 3 clicks down breaks the coat just right, and you'll see in a moment. So I'm going to take it like this, watch, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Let's look what happens. Now, if you are cutting with the saw, and I've experienced this, and at the end of the cut you have a little chamfer, you should have gone a click deeper. Follow? Good. So let's come in here. I'm going to plug it back in, and I do this just for a visual because I also want to show you something. It's really weird because I had to take my caliper and measure the boards yesterday, and I was all over the place. You know things aren't, they're undulating, right? So you always got to double check that. So I'm going to come in here. And just verify that, and I like that. So that's spinning like this. Okay, so that looks good to me, right? Okay, so let's disengage this. Is that the right word, Minnie? Disengage?
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. So the first thing you do, the way I've been doing it, is set the depth of the scoring blade first, so you're just breaking the coat, okay? And you'll get that perfect cut. But there's another thing we gotta do, is we gotta adjust, and I'm going to take it out of adjustment right now. And it's this part right here. See it right here? You have an R and an L. And what this is for is the lateral adjustment. Boy, did I get confused setting this up yesterday, okay? Because you want to make sure, I thought the whole thing was adjusting, and it isn't. It's the front blade going left and right. And it's done for you because you have this little symbol here. Chris, let me get it. If I'm going to go left, I'm going toward the rail. If I'm going right, I'm going out, okay? In other words, this sounds funny. You have to experience it yourself, because I get all turned around sometimes, not just left and right, and I did yesterday, and I thought, there's something wrong when I saw it. It wasn't. I had to figure out which blade's moving. And that's, of course, this is a scoring blade. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to, now, you remember what I told you? 1.3 is a full revolution, 0.1 millimeter. This one has to be, it's amazing how fine the adjustment. I've never seen anything on Festool this fine an adjustment. Check it out. I'm looking over here. There's 20 clicks on it, okay? Each click is 0.025 millimeters. Okay, so the 1.3 on the depth, or the 0.1 on the depth, that's very fine. The 0.025 is very, very, very fine, okay? A full revolution is only a 0.5 millimeter. It's incredible. And you can dial this in absolutely precisely. So let me take it out of whack here, and I want you to see this, because I'm moving that scoring. I'm gonna take it way out of whack. And I want you to see what happens and what it looks like. And that is tough, but I've taken a scoring blade, and Big D, I'm going to take it out some more because I don't think you can truly see it, can you? Oh, you can? You kinda?
Yeah.
Yep. So that's not going to, that's not going to work, right? So I want to bring it back in, okay? And let me see if I can dial it in. Okay, let's see what this is. And I'm going to tell you. Okay.
Wow.
If it is not right, each click, take it another 0.25. But to me, I think that's perfect. Does it look perfect on there? To me, it does. Now, I had this out yesterday. Even though I got new specs, I was going like this. The telltale sign is if you have any chip out, make sure, don't get a microscope, really dial it in. Guess what? It's dialed in. When do you have to dial it in again? If you go to HPL blade or your scoring blade does. Okay, you ready for this? This is funny. Let me just look to see if I've covered it. We got the depth.
Yep.
Okay. We have the lateral back and forth. Okay. You know what those buttons are for. Okay. Now, next week, I showed you what this is. This disengages what?
Blade.
The blade, the big blade. What if I want to do what? See how it's moving? See this? What if I want to not use the scoring blade? There's two reasons. Plunge cutting, and you'll see next week. I'll get you to wrap your head around it. But the other one is, what did I recommend for these guys when you use the scoring blade? The blade that comes with it and the HPL blade, right? But what if you want to cut aluminum with it, all right? Or do some heavy ripping. Like, and this is the blade I had on what? The CSC last week. That was my ripping blade. So you can use it for that, all the blades, but it was designed for what? Getting that perfect cut on melamine or whatever, HPL. So when you cannot have any chip out. It's absolutely perfect. And you know what? We have these out there. This is phenomenal because look, this is a plunge cut saw, regular plunge cut. Some people that's good enough, but I would say that had an old splinter guard on it. This is the one with the TS60. And there's your perfection, right? The TSV 60. When just good enough is not good enough. And hopefully I said that right. Okay. Whew, I couldn't wait for this saw to come out. I was so excited. All right, now I'm going to show you. You know, I changed the blade on the TS60, but I'm going to show you how to change the scoring blade because I really want to talk about the scoring blade. Right? So what's the first thing you do, guys? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And I'm going to get it so we can all see this. And then I'll make another cut with this momentarily. Okay, so let's look at it. I'm going to take this off for now. Let me get, oh, there it is, Sedge. There we go. Okay, now I want to get in the right position. I was doing this yesterday. You know, that's the nice thing about the 60 and the V, the TS60 and the TSV 60, is it's designed so when you lay it like this, it's easier to change the blade. Okay, green button, that's your arbor lock, right? Oh, hang on. That's your arbor lock. So when I push it down, you got to find the hole there to lock the arbor, right? Okay, so like all saws, here's the 5mm stored right on board hex key to change this blade when you put it in fast fix, right? This one, I'll put it in fast fix. Whoopsie, it's got to be a little bit further down. Okay, see how it's locked in, right? I could change this blade if I want, but this arbor doesn't lock because it's on a small motor. That's why I showed you that arbor lock. This is a 4mm wrench. Oh, hang on a second. I'm not going to go too fast. It's stored right here. See that? Beautiful. Boy, I just looked at the time. We're cranking, huh? Okay, now, this blade's a little bit different. When I get the arbor hole in there and the lock is in there, it is a what? A righty-loosey, okay? And a lefty-tighty because it's spinning in the opposite direction. You didn't know that, did you, Big D? Okay, I'm going to take it off, and let's talk about this blade. That is a diamond tip on there, okay? And I said, okay, how long is that going to last? Especially when I hear it's in that wicked hard countertop material, right? HPL. I just call it Formica. I'm an old guy. Okay, I wrote this down because I was looking at a PowerPoint from Germany, and I went, that doesn't make sense. So I really cranked the numbers on this. Okay, it said after 1,500 meters, we stopped the test and the blade was still sharp. Okay, the testing group did this. That's 1.5 kilometers. And it was still sharp, even in the HPL. Okay, so let's take it to North America. This is wicked cool because I love doing this. It's 1,500 meters is 4,921 feet, or 0.93 miles. It's almost a mile of HPL. You know how hard that stuff is. And that blade, when we stopped the testing, because it was almost like fruitless, right? Guess what? That was still wicked sharp. Okay, so there you go. To put it back in, I just slip it in. And as I do this, like all our track saws, what do we have here? We have, oopsie, that's gonna be the fun one, isn't it? That's why we like live. Okay. Hey, Mo! Okay. So when putting this back on, I put the writing out. See the writing on there? I put it out because I face the teeth together because of the revolution. What revolution is that? Okay, and I'm gonna put it in there, aim it in there, and guess what? It's a lefty tighty. So you turn it this way, and I'll hit the arbor lock, and I'm gonna just snug it. I'm not gonna crank it, and there we go. So there's that scoring blade. Yes, you can get a replacement. Maybe you hit a rock or something in the melamine or something and you chip it. I don't know. Okay, but it lasts, it's long wearing, and it's phenomenal. Whew. All right. I think I've covered quite a bit so far today. What I wanted to do is I have it all set up here, right? I'm still ready to rock and roll. I'm gonna plug it back in. I'm gonna finish this cut, and then I wanna take it to the next step, because I got a lot set up in here, and this kind of gets me. I am gonna take this and I'm gonna set it at 22.5 degrees. Okay, so I'm just gonna take it. I said this on the TS60 when we were on episode 131. These new knobs right here, I don't know what it is about them. They're more ergonomic for me, and they're so much nicer. I'm gonna take it like this, and I'm going to tilt her. Hello, Sedge. Let's tilt her. There we go. And I'm gonna take it to what? There's my cursor. I'm gonna take it to 22.5. I'm gonna tighten it up. And I'm gonna make the, oops. Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make the rip first. Sorry, guys. When I was doing this yesterday, I had already ripped it. The power in here is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna reset it. Whew. Boy. Sometimes I think I set up too much, but it's okay. I wanna cover a lot of this. So you guys gotta, when you get your TSVs here, you know how to make the right cut. Oh, you know what? That's my setup. I'm just gonna take my regular rail because I'm done with my setup. And here is why I replaced the splinter guard. You noticed that it wasn't right on a witness mark. But here's the thing. If it doesn't have to be right on your witness mark, you don't need it, right? Because the splinter guard is what's holding it down on all our track saws. Here we're scoring it and cutting it at the same time. But what if you need that absolutely perfect? And I pre-cut this yesterday, and you'll see I put a new splinter guard on this one about a month ago when I was messing with this, and you'll see how it cuts right to the line. So what if I had to do this? Watch. I make a mark here, and I make a mark here, and I line it up precisely. It will cut right there. That's the beauty of the Festool track saw system. Chris, I'm gonna step around you. Man, it's nice now we don't have cords, huh? Yeah. We just introduced Chris to battery technology. Okay, and one more clamp right over here. And we're gonna line it up precisely. There we go. We got everything set, but now we're gonna take it a step further. Let's get her right here at 22.5. This is a cut that you need for shelving sometimes. And I'm gonna come back and tighten this knob, and let's make the cut. Now, the reason I wanted to do this today is I always put my hand on the base here. Okay, that way there it doesn't tip on me. I'm gonna check my saw and everything, and now let's look at the cut. Now, my friends, if you have ever done this on a table saw, regular track saw, I have gotten cuts like this, but on a very, very, very expensive slider that had a scoring blade. And sometimes those scoring blades are tough to align on some of those bigger saws. Here, you saw how easy it was, right? Look at this cut. Now, when you do this, safety, safety, safety. Don't go, hey, look at that cut, because guess what will happen? You'll actually cut your finger. Oh man, I hope this comes through, Chris. Let's look. 0.0 splinter. Look at that. It's absolutely perfect. See that? Okay? It is amazing the quality of cut you get. Next week, we'll do some plunge cutting with it. Trying to think if I've covered everything I needed to. I'm going in my brain right now. I have this set up. We were cross-cutting yesterday on this. I took the saw, brought it over here, and made a cut on here. And I've used this material. I got to be really careful because you can cut yourself on that, but look at the quality of cut, cross-cutting that. It's amazing. You know what? I'm going to cut with it. Just so you folks can see this out there, and you can, I'm just gonna take it. I got my secondary saw set up there, and I got a really cool visual for this. Let me just switch. Yes, it is hardwired, and we needed that because we needed the flow of energy to it versus because of the gauge of the cord and the power needed for this. Okay, let's see if I can get this over here, just like this. I got it all set up. I don't want to cut through my table, but I got it all set up. I got to make sure I'm on. And I don't want to cut through my table, so I'm going to work my depth of cut here. We'll plug it into this CT over here. Yes, sir. And let's look what we got. So I'm going to get in here. Minnie, how we doing?
Good.
We got a few people watching?
We got more than you.
All right. I love how she says that. Okay. One of the techniques I like to do is I like to hold my hand up here. And the other thing I like, everybody, is this is actually a great handhold. The motor casing, I like it. So, once again, I'm going to make sure my scoring blade, and look, I'm going to push this down. So the way I have it set up, come in here, Chris. You got to remember, it's both sides of the cut. Look at this cut. Look at it. It's perfect. If I need a little more perfection on it, I would put the outside splinter guard, but I find it's not necessary. Look at the outside cut, everybody. Look at that. And look, I can't tell you how thin that black top coat is on that. It's amazing. All right. I think I've covered everything, Chris. I think I got it, right? I always do this, you know I do, because I want to make sure I covered everything for you folks at home, and I did. Now, I told you and I showed you the lines. You have plunge cutting lines, and also warm you up for next week. On the TSV, you have plunge cutting lines, okay? The normal ones, entrance and exit here. Oh, sorry, Chris.
Sorry.
We also have them on the back side, okay? But we need them if we're plunge cutting with what? The scoring blade. And we have that here and here. So next week, we'll do some plunge cutting with it, and we'll show you how to stop and start it precisely. Whew! All right. I think I got all of it.
Is it possible, oops, it's getting answered. Is it possible to dial in each saw to work with existing tracks, or are you better off having dedicated tracks per saw?
I'll answer that real easy. it's better to have it dedicated for the TSV 60. It is such a specialty saw. Okay, I want to make sure of that because you don't want to work the toe on both blades. Or I don't think there is a toe on the scoring. Get a dedicated set of rails for it. Yes, okay. All right. Before we move on, what was the question last week?
What's the biggest state in Canada?
No. The geography question last week. How many provinces are in Canada? And how many territories? So in alphabetical order, I have it written down here. We have, I got most of them, but I didn't know the difference between territories and provinces. Let's do the territories first. We have Northwest Territories. We have Nunavut and Yukon. And I know where those are, and that's where it's wicked cold. And then we have an alphabetical order. We have Alberta, British Columbia, Manitoba, New Brunswick, Newfoundland and Labrador are together. And then we have Nova Scotia, Ontario, Prince Edward Island, PEI, baby. We have Quebec, which is Quebec, but Quebec, and Saskatchewan. So there you go. How many of you guys get that out there? All right. New geography before I start reading off names. What U.S. state has the most counties? Do you guys know?
No.
Okay. We'll figure that out next week. Okay, everybody, here we go. We have Andrew from Toledo, Ohio. Ray from Pensacola, Florida. Mike M. from Austin, Texas. Doug from Zionsville. Michelle from Paris, France. Mac from Woodcraft, Springfield. Ed from Mountain View, Hawaii. Okay, we have Matt from Tinley Park, and he knows it's Illinois. Joe from Waseca, Illinois. Leo from Holland. Richard from Lake Como, Italy. Wicked cool. We have Mike from Perth, Australia. Rick from sunny Blackpool. I believe that's in the UK. Anthony Scalaro from Staten Island, New York. That's one of the boroughs. Rob from South Devon, England. Jason from Fenton, Michigan. Chris still thinks Times Square is a borough of New York. New Fall, Morocco. Russ from Chichester. We have Jason and Yana. We know you folks. You're awesome from Granite Falls, Washington. You're always there with us. Dale from Swadlincote, England. Christopher from Malta.
Yep.
Every single episode, I believe he's been with us. You're awesome, Christopher. Mike C. from Winchester, Virginia. Ed from Douglasville, Georgia. We have Mac from Anaheim. Jeff from Clarksburg, Maryland. Jerry G., who came to visit us this week from Sugar Grove, Illinois. Jerry, that was a fun afternoon. Des from Harrigan, England. Corvin from Finland. Jeff and Jill from Allen, Texas. Dan from Whitestone, New York. Soren from Denmark. Carrie from Dallas, Texas. Craig and Tyler, I know who you guys are. Hank, the Donut Man Foreman, is here in the house. We have Michael from Nebraska. Joe from Akron, Ohio. Spactrician. All of it from Southern California. You're awesome. Oh, there it is, in the middle of the board, Mitty. It's Dark from Dayton. Woo! And he's at the Woodcraft. Tom and Kelly at Eaton, Georgia. Ben and Benny at Betty's Bay, South Africa. You know what that is? 4 B's. All right, we have Mark from Walney Island, England. Hard to name, Atlanta, Georgia. Aronzo from Mississauga, Ontario. Jacob from RI, which is Rhode Island. Mark from Krimpen aan de Lek, the Netherlands. We have David from Owings Mills, Maryland. Edric from Citrus Heights. Arno from Waalwijk, the Netherlands. Warren from Batavia, Ohio. Harry from Long Island, New York.
Well done.
Not bad, huh?
Well,
You thought you were going to mess me up with that lie.
I'm still working on it.
Woo! Break Weber from Novato, California. Safe from London, UK. Joe from Akron, Ohio. You got to be kidding me. Steve from Staffordshire, England. Joshua from Sun City, Florida. Michael from Puyallup, Washington. Stephen from Nebraska, Bellevue, Nebraska. It's him. It's Johnny O from Atco, New Jersey. Kevin from Lake Oswego, Oregon. Mike from Burlington, Mass. Yeah, unit. I'm going to wake you up. Hawaiian App Daffod of Nine Fingers Woodworking in North Wales. Wow, that's a full board. That's a full board. David from Israel, Warped Woodsman, we know you folks. The other Warren from Caldwell, Idaho. Will Van Dyke from Perneerden, the Netherlands. We got a lot of people from the Netherlands.
We do.
Okay, we have Woodcraft Dayton, Cal from London, Matt from Michigan City, Indiana, Hawaii, Engineer Mike from New Hyde Park, New York. We have Dragon from Serbia, Dominic from Dedham, Mass, Maddie McLean from Middlesex, North Carolina, Jerry Tanzel. I know him.
I do too.
He's wicked cool. Hey, we have Gail from Eden, New York, Mike P. from Oahu, Peter from the Netherlands. There's another one. Alex from York, Nebraska, Walt from Fredericksburg, Virginia, B. Double Dizzle from Bentonville, Arkansas. We're waking them up. Bam! We have Eric from Spensley Design in Columbus, Ohio. We have Dick from Katy, Texas. Jeff from Bloomington, Indiana. Robbie Wananobi from Corner, Texas. That always cracks me up. All right. Dave from Rio Rancho, New Mexico. Tony from Noblesville, Indiana. There he is. There's Dave, and he's married to? Gwen from West Virginia. Gerald from De Ritter, LA. Roll from Wolvega, Netherlands. How are you, Roll? Brian from In the Sky. Yizu from Paramaribo, Suriname. My cola from Kiev, Ukraine. Kiev, Ukraine. Apo from Finland. Mike S. from Crawfordsville, Indiana. Sam from Kingston, New York. Dwayne from Rockledge, Florida. Thomas from Patton, Pennsylvania. Greg from Buzzards Bay, Cape Cod. Merlin from Walla, Washington. Minnie is still writing. Hey, I got to call that out. This is really important. We still got more names to read. But do you know tomorrow is Dee's birthday? She's our repair tech.
Oh!
Hey, happy birthday,
Happy birthday,
Dee.
Dee.
We have Henrik and Zolo from Sweden. You know what tomorrow is? Saturday.
Dee's birthday.
And it's Dee's birthday. But I'm good like that because after Friday's Saturday. Okay, Cal from Des Moines, Iowa. Milos from Serbia, Belgrade. Maddie, my main man, Maddie from Cincinnati. Adam and Ronnie from Reading, England. Pinch, I love that. It's such a cool name. Pinch from Connersville, Indiana. Chris from Antwerp, Belgium. Petri from Jolarvi, Finland. Daniel from Bertwil, Switzerland. Bernie Burt from Black Forest, Germany. Oh, I love the Black Forest. You guys got good cake and good Kirschwasser. Okay, Dave from San Diego. Stefan from Augsburg, Bavaria, Germany. Beautiful area, everybody. Peter from Portsmouth, Rhode Island. Stevie from Sweden. Greg from Holyport, UK. Nat from Newark, Ohio. John from Naperville, Illinois. Arthur. Is that Arthur or Arthur?
Arthur.
Arthur.
Sorry, Arthur.
You got an accent. Arthur from Brandywine, Maryland. Ed N. from Winchester, Illinois. Chris and Ollie from Katona. Joel from NSB, Florida. New Smyrna Beach. Hey!
That was
Woo! Woo, baby! I'm good with the Florida names, the acronyms. Okay, abbreviations. Paul from Cheryl and Sam, Anthem, Arizona. George from Naples. Frank from Downer Grove, Illinois. Gary from Beers with the Boys. Clark from Columbia, Missouri. English Jason from New York City.
He's visiting.
Hey, glad you're visiting. We have Ant, and that's my main man, Ant from Fontana, California. Gary from Plano, Texas. Kent from Iowa. And happy birthday tomorrow, D, our repair tech. Oh, I already said that.
You did.
All right. Hey. Wow. That was a day, huh? I hope I covered everything, everybody. I really had a great week setting this up. This is now my favorite saw. I was telling everybody in the house. It is absolutely amazing. Hopefully it came across. Next week we'll be plunge cutting with a TSV 60. There's some really cool setup tips with it. Ooh, Minnie's excited!
I am.
All right, so have a great weekend. What do I always say? We love you guys. Okay, thank you for being part of our community here at Festool Live. It's the best hour all week. The last 2 weeks, I think I earned my pay. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We'll see you next week for episode. We're all shaking our heads. We can't believe episode 150 next week. Looking forward to it. We'll see you for next Friday at noon for Festool Live. I think that's a wrap.